Good afternoon and thank you for joining us for the final game of the weekend in round 10 of the FOSROC Super 6 and our last game of the regular league season before next weekend's playoff semi-finals. And we're at Meggetland for our early evening kick-off as Boroughmuir Bears take on Ayrshire Bulls. Well, we've had two action-packed games already in round 10, which kicked off last night with an Edinburgh derby at Millar, and Watsonians Rugby ensured they would have the distinction of finishing the season atop the league with a 29-21 victory over Heriot's Rugby. And then earlier this afternoon, in our 1 PM kick-off, Stirling Wolves gained revenge for a home defeat at the hands of the Southern Knights earlier in the season, coming back from a 19-0 deficit at half-time to win 21 points to 19. And now we are looking forward to Boroughmuir Bears against Ayrshire Bulls, as I say, the final game of our regular league season. Still playoff semi-finals to come next week, and then the final at the Dam Health Stadium a fortnight today. And a look at the league table, and confirmation that Watsonians sit an unassailable 7 points clear of the Ayrshire Bulls, courtesy of last night's victory. And Heriot's Rugby will finish fourth, which means that they will face Watsonians Rugby next weekend in one of our playoff semi-finals. And we already know then that Ayrshire Bulls will finish second and Boroughmuir Bears third, and they will meet in the other semi-final next week. The only difference will be that that one is down at Millar. Lee Jones alongside me this afternoon. Lee, we wondered about how best to introduce you. I think 82 appearances for Scotland Sevens, 8 for Scotland, but you preferred Selkirk winger, so we'll go with that. Selkirk winger Lee Jones. The match, as we've said there, it's essentially a dead rubber. Nothing can change in the top 4 places. But I still find this fascinating, knowing that the teams will play again in 7 days' time to scrap it out for a place in that league final at the Dam Health Stadium. So how do the teams approach today's game, and what exactly are they looking to achieve with next week's game in mind?
Yeah, it's a really interesting fixture, especially with the semi-finals now having been decided. Like you say, these guys will play again in a week's time, and I think from both teams' point of view, you've got the analysis for next week almost starts now. And these teams have a good idea of each other, and they'll have their ideas going into that semi-final, which is obviously really important in terms of the whole season. But this game's almost a chance to maybe try a few things, maybe hold a few things back. We've got two different squads. Boroughmuir have made a lot of changes due to injury. Pat MacArthur himself has said that this is a chance to really get a look at, guys, it's their last chance to stake a claim for next week.
Well, let's have a look at the sides. The home side, first of all, and Brandon Sweet returns to the starting side at Loosehead, alongside 18-year-old Jerry Blythe-Lafferty at hooker, and Luca Alessandri gets his first start for the Bears on the tight head side of the scrum. Jack Fisher returns from injury to once again partner Callum Atkinson in the second row, and Captain Craig Keddy misses out this week through injury, which sees Tristan Andrews return to the starting lineup at 8, and another 18-year-old Liam McConnell switches from 6 to 7, and the former Scotland under-18 captain will lead the Bears this afternoon, while Glasgow Warriors Academy player Ewan Ferry comes in on the blind side. Rory Swan and Jack Bergen continue their half-back partnership, and Scott Robson and Adam Scott again combine in the midfield. Tom Brown and Kerr Johnson both picked up injuries against Watsonians, so Joe Jenkins is joined this week in the back 3 by 2 emergency loan players, Andrew McLean from Glasgow Hawks and Cammy Meagher from Curry Chieftains. The 13 injuries in the squad means the Bears have had to beg, borrow and steal to fill their bench this afternoon. Callum McFeet-Smith, Josh King and Paul Bogey, joined by another 4 emergency loan players in the shape of North Berwick prop Nicky Hart, former Boroughmuir player Cameron Hogg, currently with the Curry Chieftains, Jordan Millar of the Southern Knights, and Edinburgh Accies scrum half Ross Cadzo, who celebrates his 18th birthday today by getting his first taste of Super 6 rugby. The visitors are rather less afflicted than the home side by injuries, but they've still been forced into a number of changes this week, with Ollie Smith, Ross Thompson, Alex Samuel and Sione Violanu all unavailable. Jamie Drummond, Alex Maguire and Calvin Henderson start in the front row. Rory Jackson moves into the second row, where he's partnered by Ewan Hamilton-Bulger. And Archie Smeaton and Tim Brown come into the back row alongside captain Blair McPherson. There's a new half-back pairing with Cam Jones at 9 and Will Hunt at 10. The powerful Jamie Shedden moves from the wing into outside centre to partner Andy Stirrett, and try-scoring machine Elias Cavan returns on the left wing, with Aaron Tate retaining his place on the right, and Australian Sevens player Liam McNamara comes in at fullback. Well, there's plenty of power on the bench in the shape of front row replacements. Ali Rogers, former Glasgow Warrior James Malcolm, and Scotland international Simon Bergen. Andrew Nimmo and Thomas Glendinning cover the back five of the scrum, while Gavin Wilson, Richie Simpson and Jordan Lenach are the backline replacements. So Lee, again, you've already mentioned some of the players as Boroughmuir come out just for their last hit on the pads. Who do you think will be catching our eye this afternoon?
I think immediately I'm drawn to the two wingers, being a winger myself, for the Ayrshire Bulls, and Aaron Tate and Elias Cavan, both in great form. Aaron Tate coming off the back of 2 tries last weekend. Elias Cavan sitting top of the try scoring chart. We're just seeing the rain come down there at Meggetland, which might change things a wee bit for the back 3 players, but I think those 2 guys are definitely ones to look out for. I think in terms of Boroughmuir, like you said, they've got 15 guys unavailable, 13 through injury. So for them, they're bringing in some guys, especially in the back 3 there. They've got 2 guys out on loan, but it's a real opportunity for these boys that are coming in. It may prove difficult to fit into a team, coming in so late, but at the same time it provides great opportunity. So looking forward to seeing how those guys go. And obviously for Boroughmuir, it's their last home game of the season, so they'll be looking to put in a strong performance. And their season started really well. They've had a tough run of fixtures running into these playoffs, but they're in a semi-final next weekend, and they've got a home game now. They'll be looking to put in a strong performance.
I think the weather is different at one side of the pitch at Meggetland compared to the other. I think they're running out of the tunnel through a bit of rain and running towards blue skies at the other side. So let's hope that the blue skies prevail. You'll perhaps see from the trees in the background and the flags, it's also blustery here at Meggetland this afternoon, so the weather may well have an impact. The Ayrshire Bulls, just one last quick huddle. And it's not only Boroughmuir Bears and the Ayrshire Bulls have had to make changes this afternoon. We've got change to the officiating lineup. Unfortunately, our referee unable to make it this afternoon, so Michael Todd has been promoted from assistant referee, and he will be the man in the middle, and it will be Will Hunt, the Ayrshire Bulls fly half, who starts us off this afternoon. And no messing about from Boroughmuir there from the kick-off. Just bang that up the left-hand touchline and into touch around about their own 10-metre line.
I think you can see from the touch judge's flag there just how the wind, it's quite hard to grasp what direction it's going in, but it's definitely blustery, and you can see that on the players, and you can see that with that first kick-off. It really carried into the Boroughmuir 22. It could have a big factor in this game.
So Alex Maguire, plenty targets there in that Ayrshire Bulls line, finds Ewan Hamilton Bolger, however. He was the intended target, but it's Boroughmuir Bears who have it. Loose pass there, very scrappy. No knock on. And again, the Bears just looking to use the conditions. Put boot to ball. Back it comes though from the Ayrshire Bulls. It'll be difficult for both the kickers and the catchers, I suspect, with that swirling wind that you get here at Meggetland, but it's the home side away down their left touch line. Bergen coming out of the breakdown, calling the shots, organising his forwards in front, and again just calling the pod of 3 forwards from the midfield in towards the breakdown. Just to get the long maul, provide some protection for Rory Swan, who sends that high into the sky, and taken well by Tim Brown racing back, the open side flanker for the Bulls.
Use it! Stay on.
Cam Jones at the base, looks like he will take on kicking duties for his side.
Yep, scrum advantage.
Well contested. You hear the referee say scrum advantage, so knocked on by the Ayrshire Bulls chasers.
Set.
And the Bears with a chance to attack just on that Bulls 10-metre line. Again out into the midfield. There's some space on the right flank, but tackles made in the midfield. No options to the right, so forced to go back to the left. Again, just carried by the forwards. And Bergen puts the boot to ball there. That bounces just in the field of play. Not exactly what was intended. I think he hoped that that one would stay, and he had 3 chasers with him. But it bounces into touch, and it'll be a Bulls throw into the line out.
I think we've seen the whole range of kicking repertoire so far. We've seen the up and under, we've seen them go long, we've seen the attacking kick as well, and I think that just underlines how important the kicking game is going to be today. I think, especially given the conditions. For me, I think it's how either team deals with that. If they can, take those box kicks, take them comfortably, and fill the field well, I think that will go a long way to giving the team possession.
More successful line out for the Bulls on this occasion. Again, putting boot to ball. As Lee Jones says, I think we'll see a bit of kicking this afternoon once again. The Bears and Jack Bergen send that one into Bulls territory, but much too long.
Yeah, there's another two, different style as well. I think both the kickers as well at 9s and 10s primarily will be trying to figure out this wind as well and just get a feel for it. So, it's partly those guys trying to see where they're at kicking wise, but it's going to test these back 3 players and players working back.
Patience and stability.
Jack Bergen didn't quite get the feel of the conditions on that occasion, sending his kick dead. So of course we come back to where he kicked it from, on the Ayrshire Bulls 10-metre line. It's a scrum down to the visitors. Blair McPherson in control at the back of a scrum that is moving forward. The referee indicates an advantage, so McPherson picks up. He looks for Cam Jones. He looked on the inside, finds him on the outside, and away they go. Offloading here, and it's Tim Brown in possession. But the referee saying no advantage, ball was lost. Looked promising there for the Ayrshire Bulls, but they'll come back for the penalty at the scrum. And as you always expect, the Ayrshire Bulls pack dominant.
Yeah, that was a really strong scrum, and if Bulls can keep that platform throughout the day, that could play a big part in the game. Blair McPherson controlling things well at the back there. Experienced guy to have at number 8.
Time off. You got a player down. For me, they've got a forward nudge, and you've not stayed square under pressure. But I'll have a look to make sure they're driving straight. Okay.
The referee just explaining to
Boroughmuir
Bears.
Tight heads collapse and they're under pressure.
So saying that the Bears' tight head, Luca Alessandri, had collapsed in treatment for their other prop, Brandon Sweet.
It's interesting to see Bulls on the counter-attack from that scrum there, just forcing a few offloads. And I think a couple of them went to hand. That last one just kind of juggled, and I think that's partly the conditions, and it'd be a slippy ball as well as the wind. So for them, that's a wee tester just to see, how much can we push those offloads, and that's something that they might want to pull back a bit given the conditions, especially if we've got a strong platform in the scrum.
So some running repairs for Brandon Sweet, the Bears' loose head prop. It looks like he'll be okay to go on once he gets this ankle strapped. So no scoring here as yet at Meggetland.
Too big for the ears.
First real attacking opportunity for the visitors from the penalty, just kicking down that right touch line and finding a touch on the 22. More tape needed for Brandon Sweet. Luca Alessandri, the other prop, originally from Cartha Queen's Park, and I think he played second row until he moved into senior rugby, and I think has been used in both positions by the Bears this season.
On the line, please. Let's just hold. Step off, please, White. Time back on.
Brandon Sweet returns to the fray. The front of the line out for the Bears, a defensive line out. Alex Maguire finds Rory Jackson in the middle of the line and gets his mitts on the ball at the back of a maul, which is progressing very quickly into the Bears 22. Now they play away from it. Dummy thrown there by Andrew Stirrett. Cam Jones out to his half-back partner, Will Hunt. Ball lost by Liam McNamara though.
2 knock-ons, first, second.
So double knock-on, so no advantage to the Bears. So the referee awards them a scrum. Which, well, we'll see how they fare this time. They were under an awful lot of pressure in the first scrum of the game. We'll have to get this one cleared very quickly, you imagine, and sent downfield.
Yeah, it's another good platform from the Bulls. Driving maul there. Boroughmuir themselves a good mauling team, but it's always hard to defend, and I think that was a great opportunity to launch an attack. And first phase good, second phase there was just a bit of a loose pass, which in these conditions is going to lead to knock-ons and lead to kind of that scrappiness.
Well, initially looked like a better Bears scrum, but the pressure came on from the Bulls. They have managed to clear it out into the midfield. Taken into contact by Scott Robson.
Tackle!
Again carried through the forwards just to create a better angle for...
Chase, stay on.
Well, it looks like Swan again will take on the kicking duties himself. Doesn't find a touch. Elias Caven back in the starting side today. Gathers that one. Off to McNamara and then quickly through 2 or 3 sets of hands over to the far side of the pitch. Tackle made by Adam Scott. Bears outside centre. The Bears defence came forward but driven back by the Bulls carriers. However, that's been lost. Cam Jones in there fighting for it, but this will come back on the home side of the breakdown. And their captain today, Liam McConnell, just 18 years old, former Scotland under-18 captain, Scotland under-20 player. However, another turnover at the breakdown, this time for the Bulls. I suspect a chance for them once again to stick it down in that same corner as we saw them set up that line-out drive from just a moment or two ago.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if we don't see the same tactic. Kick to touch, get the drive and maul going. I'm impressed by just the Bulls' ability to get a bit of width on counter-attack there. 2 guys working back on the width, which allowed them to then stretch them. And yeah, there was a couple of turnovers in between that, but the ability, Boroughmuir have cleared well, but for Bulls to be able to get to the opposite touchline takes those guys working back. I think Jamie Shedden, playing on the wing last week, now at outside centre, he was working back hard, and that just opens up so many more opportunities on that counter-attack.
So the Bulls line out rather closer to the Bears try line on this occasion.
Sack's too late, yeah.
The sack too late, you'll hear the referee saying there, so playing an advantage, but still with the Ayrshire Bulls.
Release Green! Set, please, Green.
Great attacking position for them. They'll just pick and go round the corner. Captain McPherson right in the middle of that. Then goes Archie Smeaton, and over the line goes Alex Maguire. However, no try. The referee was playing advantage. And rather nonchalantly, Cam Jones just sticks that one back into touch, and we'll have a repeat of the line out.
That's good patience from the Bulls. They had the penalty advantage from Boroughmuir sacking that maul late, and you know, they kept their heads. They pick and go. It looked like Alex Maguire was over the try line, but I think probably called double movement from the ref, so we go back for the penalty.
Well, the sack legal this time. However, the Bulls have managed to keep it off the ground. Same maul, the referee says Alex Maguire, who did get himself over the try line, but no score given just a moment ago. In possession.
Tackle!
The Bulls very difficult to stop when they get as close as this. The captain McPherson picks up and goes. Round the corner they come again, just working their way towards that try line. Cam Jones looks like he will switch direction. Good tackle by McConnell. Squirts out the back of the Bulls maul, the ruck rather. Still within striking distance. The forwards set themselves again. And Archie Smeaton once again in there on the latch, trying to drive his colleague over. Bears defence just about holding up for now. Missed tackle. Will Hunt eventually dragged to deck. Cam Jones again has a little look himself. Manages to make another metre or so. And they're over the try line here. The referee on the spot says that one's held up. And the Bears survive, and this will be a goal line dropout.
Goal line dropout, held up.
It's good patience by the Bulls, but equally great defence by Boroughmuir. They're making it a real scrap at the breakdown. And I think Bulls, with their patience, they were right to just get round the corner, especially given these conditions and knowing the strength that they've got in their pack. You see them then try and go a bit wider, and these wide passes are just hard to stick with the wet ball. Boroughmuir did really well just to hold up Cam Jones there. I thought he might have managed to dot that down, but good defence.
Well, that's actually a decent goal line dropout as well, because they can often be great attacking opportunities for the receiving side, but Jack Bergen somehow managed to find grass there and it's skidded into touch, and I think the Bears will be quite happy with that.
Yeah, it's a good result from that position, from being battered on their own line to then, like you say, managing to force a line out. But I think we might get a bit of deja vu here. Top right hand side, it looks like another Ayrshire Bulls maul is on the way.
9 back 10 please, thank you.
Maguire again fails to find his man, stolen by the home side.
Tackle!
Just outside their 22. They'll take play back to their left. Through look at Alessandre. Right, it comes. Well, Swan was looking to kick that, but then had to take it into contact. Bergen has to race in a scrum half and just tells the forwards to carry once again. Not dangerous having to go through quite so many phases in their 22. Rory Swan this time sends it back to Bergen.
Hold in front.
Makes a good contact, but I don't think we'll find touch. Taken just on the Bulls side of halfway and quickly fired across through the hands of Caven. Juggled by Shedden. We've seen how dangerous he can be. Driven into touch, somehow keeps that ball in the field of play. And the Bulls will quickly get that ball out into the hands of Archie Smeaton in the midfield now. Play on the Bears 10 metre line. Will Hunt looked like he thought about a kick there. So just to pass that ball on. Back they come to the left through the forwards. And Boroughmuir Bears defence has been under pressure, but it's held up well so far. Still 0-0 here after 13 minutes. It's another great tackle. And in come the Bears to try and win the turnover there. And I think this will come out on their side of the ruck. You can see Adam Scott in there. However, the referee not happy with it, said they had hands in the breakdown there. But to get that back on their own side, I think the Bears might feel a little bit hard done by there, but once again a penalty to the Bulls.
They're making it a real scrap at the breakdown, aren't they? And given these conditions, it's making it tough for Bulls to play. And credit to Boroughmuir, they're getting in there, they're getting feet in there, they're getting hands in there. Sometimes illegally, as in there, but it did look like a clean turnover in the first instance. Again, Bulls managed to get real width on their counter-attack, and Jamie Shedden worked back really well. He managed to get ball in the width, and it's the hardest place to defend when Boroughmuir are kicking. It's then, you know, there's space on that width, so credit to the Bulls for being able to exploit that, and it's down to the hard work of the guys working back. Jamie Shedden on 2 occasions now.
Yeah, time's off. Yeah, we'll take the water break now, lads. It's been 15 minutes.
Well, the referee, Michael Todd now, who's expecting to be running touch this afternoon, finds himself in the middle. There's some repairs required to his communication system, so he calls for a water break.
1-2, 1-2, 1-2. Yeah, loud and clear, David.
His assistant there, David Chang Leng. It's been a bit of a scrappy opening 14 minutes, understandable given the conditions. It's a shame we had that heavy shower of rain, because you can see the sky here. There's some blue patches. It was the forecast that we would get some rain though.
Yeah, I think both teams, you know, coming into a game, you probably have an idea of how you want to play the game, and often giving a bit of rain in the warm-up. We've seen the bright sunshine before, giving a bit of rain in the warm-up. That'll change things slightly, and I think it just sometimes takes teams, you know, that 15 minutes, that 20 minutes to just adjust to, right, we can't do it, we can't force that pass. We have to, we might have to look at kicking here, and I think what we've seen so far is just both teams almost feeling their way into the game a wee bit. I'd argue Bulls have had a bit of dominance in terms of line out and territory, but yeah, both teams just looking to get a foothold in the game.
Well, you feel it's only a matter of time before the Ayrshire Bulls score from one of these driving mauls against Alex Maguire in control at the back. As they work their way towards the line, it has collapsed, and the referee happy for play to go on. The Bulls having to dig for this one.
3 in the side and 7
a loud
in the side.
blast in the whistle. And look at Alessandri in at the side. I think Liam McConnell perhaps as well. Both of them side entry. And it's desperate defence by the Boroughmuir Bears. They've got to do it all over again because, unsurprisingly, Ayrshire Bulls just stab that one back in to touch. 5 metres from the Bears line out. From the line, sorry, and Alex Maguire. He's missed a couple of line outs.
Yeah, there comes a point when you're under so much pressure from that driving maul. Boroughmuir are having to kind of just play on that edge, and they're giving away penalties.
Safe ball to the front of the Bulls line out on this occasion. Alex Maguire, Cam Jones digging in there. Again, just rolling towards that line, and I think they are over.
Whoa, lads, let go.
David Chan Leng's flag is up, and I think
Let go, lads, let go.
the Bears have managed to drive that Bulls maul into touch.
Yeah, it's great defensive work. You could see Cam Jones was digging for that ball. He could maybe sense it was going to the touchline, but the further it gets towards that touchline, the harder it is to then play towards the back, so it has to stay in there, and Boroughmuir have done well just to get it, to tip that momentum over into touch. So that's a good win for Boroughmuir there.
Yeah, you could see Luca Alessandri just round legally and stopping Cam Jones from getting that ball away. However, it's all gone horribly wrong for the Boroughmuir Bears, having defended for their lives, kept the Ayrshire Bulls out a number of occasions, and then winning their own throw into the line out, and it's untidy. It's been tapped down over the line, and the Bulls in the end get the easiest of scores. Another look at it here, the ball coming in from Jerry Blythe Lafferty, and it just was too long, fingertips to it by Callum Atkinson, and touched down by Tim Brown for the Ayrshire Bulls.
Yeah, that's one, if it doesn't go to hand, it's wide open. I think it was Alex Maguire that ended up going over there just at the tail of the line out. He's had a lot of action at the back of those mauls for the Bulls and gets a bit of credit with his try there. Maybe not how he'd envisaged going over from a driving maul, but he's been alert to pounce on that mistake there from Boroughmuir, and he gets over the line.
So Will Hunt lining up the conversion. And that went right through the middle. So the wind not causing him any problems with the conversion. And you got to feel for the Bears there because they had defended so well, and in the end it was just a slight overthrow at the line out, and they find themselves trailing by 7 points to 0.
Yeah, one of these, they've defended well and they've managed to pull a couple of turnovers out, I think. You know, but looking at the momentum of the game, you'd probably say that's a fair score given the territory and the relative dominance that the Bulls have had so far.
Use it!
So Cam Jones just outside his 22 and sends that high, and it's a good chase by Aaron Tate, the Bulls right winger.
Tackle!
Knocks the ball on in the process.
Hold there.
It's the Boroughmuir Bears
advantage over. Release White.
through Ewan Ferry, carries just over halfway. And again they go back to the left, and then Rory Swan just dinks that one over the top. And I thought for a moment that had gone out on the full, but it must have just bounced in the field of play be a Bulls line out.
Yeah, I think in an ideal world, Rory Swan probably wants to keep that in, and then it forces the Bulls to either take it out or, go back and collect a ball under pressure. Cam Jones's box kick just in the lead up there was great to see, really competitive. Aaron Tate managed to get up for the ball. Boroughmuir and Joe Jenkins did a great job of taking it. But those competitive kicks are what both teams will be looking for.
Two, don't change!
Rory Jackson with the take in the middle of the Bulls line out. Once again, the try scorer, Alex Maguire, at the back, and then sent long by Cam Jones. It's a good take by Joe Jenkins on the left wing for the Boroughmuir Bears. Lee McConnell, the captain today, throws a little dummy, steps off his right foot, makes good ground, takes play up over halfway, and then fired back to Bergen.
Thank you.
Again, puts boot to ball and gives chase himself. Liam McNamara at the back decides to run out of his own 22, and he's found space in front of him. A great swerving run by the Ayrshire Bulls fullback, still in possession, looks for support inside, can't quite find Cam Jones. That's a great bit of play by Liam McNamara, turning defence into attack for the Ayrshire Bulls, but just a loose pass at the end. Couldn't find his scrum half, Cam Jones, and opportunity lost.
Yeah, great work on the counter-attack there. Liam McNamara, I think he almost, if he passed outside, I think we could have been down the touchline. Just a real difference in the way that both teams are playing off counter-attack. As I've mentioned, I think Bulls are doing really well to get to width, whereas Boroughmuir are almost a great take by Joe Jenkins, but then struggling to generate any width on the ball, and I think they're then having to carry, which is then putting the ruck ball under pressure, and Jack Bergen ended up having to kick there, which has given more counter-attack back to the Bulls.
Again, pressure on at scrum time, and it's Rory Swan who has to rescue the situation. The Ayrshire Bulls pile into the breakdown, though have turned that one over. So it's Cam Jones again, carried by Archie Smeaton.
Ball's lifted, it's on the arm, no knock on.
The referee happy with that, says no knock on. So play continues. Andrew Stirrett. Back it comes deep to Will Hunt, who just gets far too much on that one, sends it out on the full. You can see what he was trying to do. We'll have to come back for a Bears throw into the line out just around halfway.
For me, the ball was lifted when he's come through.
Yeah, it was the right idea, wasn't it? It just didn't get down quick enough. Joe Jenkins did well. He had things covered also. A lovely offload just in the lead up there by Alex Maguire. He's having a strong game so far.
Former GHK player Alex Maguire. It's his opposite number, Jerry Blythe Lafferty, 18-year-old hooker. Throw into this Bears line out. He doesn't quite find the intended target, but it does come back on their side and carried once again into contact by Lee McConnell. Big tackle there by the Bulls captain Blair McPherson. A loud blast on the referee's whistle, with the Bulls going off their feet. They're getting a bit of success at the breakdown, the Ayrshire Bulls, but got a bit over-eager there. And away go the Boroughmuir Bears, not hanging around. Actually, Smeaton trying to turn that into a maul. The referee playing an advantage there for a late tackle. Down the blind side they go, Joe Jenkins in support. Rory Swan can't quite find him.
Let go.
The referee says no advantage.
10, late hit.
So late hit there by Will Hunt.
I think that tap penalty is probably a good option, and it's probably testament to the wind. I think we're seeing, if kicking's not so much an option for Boroughmuir, if that's the direction the wind is going, then we see that's a good tap play, gets him on the front foot, gets him carrying ball. Really impressed by Liam McConnell so far. He's had some really good carries, and he just seems to be making that extra couple of yards each time. And for a youngster and captain in the team today, he's he's going really well at the moment.
Yes, I think the age of the captain is halved. Craig Keddy unavailable this week. 18-year-old Lee McConnell, might even be slightly less than half, but real testament to how he's viewed in Scottish rugby and within the Boroughmuir Bears squad, that he's been handed the captaincy today. Blythe Lafferty does find his man this time, and he's scored 2 or 3 times from this position so far this season, and it's a good maul for the home side.
No hands right.
The Bears seem to have, the Bulls rather, seem to have stopped it for now, defending on their own goal line. However, that ball not immediately available, so that's turnover ball, and the Ayrshire Bulls survive and will have a scrum just 5 metres out from their try line.
It looked like there was some real momentum there with the Boroughmuir drive, and they're well known over the past season or so for that drive and maul, and you can see it there. The Bulls have managed to stop it legally, and you could see there when it's legal and the ball goes to ground, you can then lie over the ball. If the referee's called maul, everything legal, they can lie over the ball. If the referee can't see the ball, then he's going to give the scrum to the opposition. So it's smart play by the Bulls, and smart to kind of stay legal on what looked like it was a great maul by Boroughmuir.
Set!
Boroughmuir Bears this time trying to apply some pressure to that Bulls scrum, and Blair McPherson forced to pick up. Cam Jones fires that one back to Will Hunt, and you'll hear from the cheer from the crowd at Meggetland. That ball has been knocked on, and now the Boroughmuir Bears given a fantastic attacking opportunity from a 5-metre scrum.
Yeah, that's great. Great niggle and pressure from Boroughmuir. It's a tough place to exit from when you've got a scrum, on your own 5. It's quite a short dead ball area, but it was a strong scrum by Boroughmuir, and then managed to obviously pressure that. That's a key pass, 9 to 10, when you're looking to clear your lines, and if that's not quite on the money, then it's a difficult one to take, and a great pressure by the Bulls. They've got a good attacking platform now. It'll be interesting to see whether they can get some width on the ball.
Tristan Andrews at the base of the scrum today for Boroughmuir Bears, but the pressure this time comes on from the Ayrshire Bulls. They managed to drive the Bears off that ball. And Blair McPherson picks up for the Bulls. Cam Jones, the sides, rather than risk the pass to Hunt on this occasion, he will kick himself and finds a touch about 35 metres or so out from his try line.
Yeah, it looked like a pretty stable scrum to begin with. I think Boroughmuir maybe struggled to get the hook. The ball looked like it was kind of stuck in the middle there, and then the Bulls obviously sensed that, managed to get the swing on things and turnover, and Cam Jones has thought, let's clear us down to almost halfway there and relieve a wee bit of pressure.
The set piece has been interesting so far. Another line out. Blythe Lafferty gets a bit of air on that. That's a better line out. Tristan Andrews crashes into contact. That ball goes loose. It looked like a knock on, but the referee says that was ripped by the Ayrshire Bulls. Play on.
It's a second man, that's fine. Turnover is good.
Turned over again. Liam McConnell this time, who is an absolute nuisance at the breakdown, has carried well so far this afternoon as well. Joe Jenkins came racing onto that. I thought for a moment he had gathered that ball.
Both turnovers were good, lads. Forward pass.
It's been a real contest at the breakdown. The referee explaining 2 turnovers, both good, one for each side.
Yeah, some real clean turnovers. I'm not sure who got the Bulls first one, but Liam McConnell, a real clean turnover in the second one, and then Boroughmuir almost managed to get down that short side. I think was it Cal Atkinson? I don't think he quite expected that pass, and like you say, Joe Jenkins was flying on the outside. Whether it had been a tip on or whether that maybe went straight to Joe, they could have been down that short side. But both sides really attacking the breakdown and making it difficult for each other just to retain clean ball at the moment.
Did he play against Joe Jenkins? He's an Australian, but played sevens for Wales. I'm not quite sure what the connection is there.
Yeah, he was over and played for Wales. I bumped into him. He came up and he played. I think it was in a trial game at Glasgow Warriors, and he was along. So bumped into him then. He's a great athlete. Your classic sort of sevens athlete, quick, lean, strong. And he's been a sort of mainstay for this Boroughmuir team throughout the year. Him and Tom Brown in there as well. So yeah, he's a quality operator. He often finds himself playing in the wind and the wet.
Time back on.
But, no, he's a strong performer for Boroughmuir, and like I say, a mainstay throughout that team throughout this season.
So we're approaching the half-hour mark here at Meggetland in round 10 of the FOSROC Super 6, the final round of games before the end of season playoffs. It's Boroughmuir Bears 0, Ayrshire Bulls 7. And Alex Maguire try converted by Will Hunt, the difference between the sides at this stage. And once again, that Ayrshire Bulls scrum marching forward, the referee indicates an advantage. Just lifted by Blair McPherson to Cam Jones. No advantage again from that. Well, they would want the advantage, of course they would want the throw into the line out, so it was just deliberately hoofed straight out.
Yeah, I think you can really see it's like the secondary push from the Bulls, because initially the scrum looks really strong, and I think they can just sense that if they hold in there and then really, you know, get together on that second push, that's what's then pushing Boroughmuir off the ball, and like the Bulls are looking really strong there. I think initially the Bulls, it looks really stable, but just that power and momentum from the pack for the Bulls seems to be coming through the longer they keep that ball in the scrum.
So another attacking line out for the Ayrshire Bulls. Maguire.
Back from Green.
Again, I think his third miss of the day. Not all his fault, to be clear.
No. Stay on white. Use it.
Comes back again on the Bears side. Rory Swan sends that one high, but certainly not as long as he intended. Ball bobbles about. I thought that'd been knocked on perhaps by the Ayrshire Bulls, but it's in Boroughmuir possession. The referee is playing an advantage.
Use it.
Rory Swan again kicks that one. It's a bit more distance on it this time, and Lee McNamara at the back. We've already seen one great run from him earlier in the game, but he's clattered as he took that ball. In come Boroughmuir Bears, but going off their feet. And Cam Jones not hanging about. Away he goes, looks for support, doesn't need support, he's gone. No, he's dragged down. And the Boroughmuir Bears defence came racing up there and didn't quite get their timing right, and away they go. Elias Caven on the outside, lurking. Oh, he knows his way to the try line, and over he goes for his side's second try of the afternoon. And almost from nothing, it was Cam Jones with a quick tap. And the Bears defence didn't quite get things right. Allowed space on the outside for Jamie Shedden to race away. He had Elias Caven with him, and the left wing has gone in for yet another try.
Yeah, I think Bulls now finally getting some benefit in terms of scoring from that width of counter-attack. It was actually a really good box kick from Rory Swan. Joe Jenkins chased. They had the counter-attack. You could see what they were trying to do. It was ideal. But then almost the momentum took them off their feet, which then gave Bulls the penalty, and Cam Jones was quick, wasn't he? He sensed an opportunity. He went himself, and then the space was always going to be on that width, and Boroughmuir, probably rightly so, had to almost fly up in defence, and it's one of those ones where it's going to go either way, and Bulls did well to manage to get that ball away, and then it was just a case of picking them off. Jamie Shedden did well, and then off to Elias Caven, who we've not seen a lot of so far, but he's had a sniff of an opportunity and he's managed to finish it in the corner, so I think that takes him even further on the top try scorer charts.
Well, you did pick out the wingers at the start, and then the change in conditions perhaps made you change your mind, say it would be a more of a forward orientated game. We've had a try from the hooker and a try from the left wing so far. First conversion from Will Hunt was successful. This rather more difficult, catches it well, just fades past the left upright, so unable to add the extras on this occasion. The Ayrshire Bulls well worth their 12-0 lead.
Yeah, I think so. It's probably a fair reflection of the game so far, and it's almost brought it into life. It's been, you know, both teams kind of feeling their way in, but then we've had a couple of good counter attacks, and that one's managed to bear fruit for the Bulls.
Jack Bergen with the restart and flirting with the touchline, just gets too much on that. It's a real mistake from the Boroughmuir Bears fly half. Just brings pressure back on his side. Well, and away we go from line out. Cam Jones, and the referee happy. Well, no, he's not, in fact. You hear the blast on the whistle, and Cam Jones thought he was in there.
He's really riding the momentum at the moment, Cam Jones. He's seen the benefit of the quick tap before, and then he's gone. He's sharp. You can see he's kind of thinking one step ahead at the moment, and I kind of sense that try is like could be a potential momentum swing. Just looking at the body language of those Boroughmuir boys now, with that kick then going out on the full, they're then thinking, we've just lost a try, we've just gone out in the full. So we'll see how the rest of this half pans out, but I think we can sense a real kind of shift at the moment.
Set!
So centre field scrum, which means options both ways for the Bulls. Have to reset the scrum though. Not had a huge number of scrums. The Bulls have been dominant in almost all of them. Just that 5 metres from their own try line, where the Bears managed to force a penalty, but then were driven off their own ball a minute or so later. And the line out, perhaps down to the conditions, has been a little bit untidy. Both sides have lost possession. I think the Bulls have missed 4, but the key one was from the Bears when they didn't find their man 5 metres from their own try line. It was from that Alex Maguire went over for the first Bulls score.
See Blair McPherson there just keeping Cam Jones, calming him down, because you could see him rushing round, whether it was theatrical or not. But Blair McPherson, I could see the hand come out just to whoa, let's think about this, we'll get back to the line out. So good captaincy.
Yeah, Cam Jones, you could see he's enjoying this now. He's really getting into it. He's kicked well, he's passed well, but his running game has been really dangerous.
Yeah, and I think as this, it looks like the weather's drying up a bit as well. I think he can come more and more into the game. Like you say, I think his kicking game's been strong so far. He's looked really enthusiastic around breakdown, and it did well for the score there as well.
Stay.
Taken by Ewan Hamilton. Bulger, the front of the Bulls line out.
That's one stop, you're fine.
Cam Jones sends it out to the backs, this time pulled out the back, and right through the middle goes Will Hunt, and over goes the fly half. Lovely play by the Ayrshire Bulls backline, and they go over for their third try.
Yeah, this is really well executed. It's a popular play now. You see a lot of teams using it, hitting second receiver up flat, and then the 10 is coming round in behind. But what that takes is a real platform from the driving line out, and that makes a huge difference for the 9 then to be able to get his width on the pass to the 12. And Will Hunt's done really well coming around that corner. The gap's been there for him, but he's managed to finish it really well. He's almost snaked in between there, and he's managed to brush off the last couple of defenders as well. So Bulls really enjoying this momentum swing at the moment.
Yes, real acceleration from the fly half. Glasgow Warriors player joined from Cascais in Portugal. Makes no mistake, adding the extras to his own try.
I think both Will Hunt and Cam Jones had a lot of involvement with Glasgow Warriors at the start of the season, and you can see they've got a good partnership going on at the moment.
Carried back.
So
wait, hold in front, hold.
This game, and the Bulls in particular, some time to spark into life. They've certainly found their way now with 3 tries. What can the Boroughmuir Bears do as we approach half time in this one? Well, that's exactly what they can do, because Andrew McLean has just gone over for his side's first try. An emergency loan player from Glasgow Hawks scores his first Super 6 try from absolutely nothing.
Yeah, if Boroughmuir ever needed something like that, then they've pulled it out right, at the right time. Andrew McLean heavily involved here. does really well. Just see the double pump to hold Aaron Tate there, and then he gets his just rewards. He gets the ball back on the inside, and you know, we've not talked about him yet, but 18 years old, he's come in from Glasgow Hawks, as you say, and he's announced himself to the game just there.
Tristan Andrews involved. Joe Jenkins racing down that left touchline, timed his pass back in field to the fullback perfectly.
It's a great little 1-2, wasn't it? Like I said, Andrew McLean just held his pass, and then Joe Jenkins was able to fly onto it, draw the fullback, and then it's just an easy pop inside. Great to see some interplay there by the back three.
And that's a great conversion from out wide on the left. Jack Bergen adding the extras. And the Boroughmuir Bears have breathed some life into their own challenge this afternoon.
Yeah, I think going into the half, regardless of what happens in the next minute or so, it really just makes the game interesting. You know, Bulls have had dominance, but it just shows you Boroughmuir can have managed to score off a great counter-attack there.
Inside. Use! Stay on white.
And the Bears will want to just
chase on.
Get this one safely, I suspect, into touch. Make no mistake, having just scored their first try of the afternoon.
Use line, please.
Don't give the Ayrshire Bulls any easy opportunities. Try and get themselves to half-time, only 30 seconds or so left.
Yeah, you're on the line, please, thank you.
And they'll feel that they're very much still in this game. One last attacking opportunity for the visitors.
Cheers, DC, thank you.
Before half-time, Alex Maguire. Again, just not entirely sure what the call is. Jamie Drummond with no number on his back, just having to run forward and relay the call to him again. And they go long, taken by Hamilton Bulger again, former Mar player. Skip pass out into the midfield, and Jamie Shedden, well, he takes some stopping, makes 10 or 15 metres. Good quick ball for Cam Jones. Will Hunt just sticks the ball through there, and if this bounces up nicely, it could work for the Bulls. Still loose. I think Cam Jones has won that one. No, Joe Jenkins has done a great job coming off the left wing for the home side. And with time up, the Boroughmuir Bears just kick that into touch down the stand side touchline, and the referee blows for half-time. A very entertaining first half. It took a while to get going. 4 tries, 3 for the visitors, and the reply is shortly before half-time through Andrew McLean for the home side. And the half-time score here at Meggetland, the Boroughmuir Bears 7, Ayrshire Bulls 19. We'll be back shortly just for our first half analysis. Let's take a break from Meggetland for one of our half-time features. Now, we've talked a lot over the last few weeks about Scotland women competing at the Rugby World Cup in New Zealand, so now let's turn our attention to the men as they kick off their Autumn Nations Series campaign against Australia 2 weeks today, and ahead of the 4 games against Australia, Fiji, New Zealand and Argentina. Former Scotland international Tim Visser asked Scotland prop Pierre Schumann some quick-fire questions.
So I'm here to ask you a couple of really awkward questions. Are you ready for it?
Yeah, I'm good.
Best game you've played for Scotland so far?
I would have to say my debut, because it was so spectacular, having my family on my debut and scoring a try against Tonga. But beating
scoring a try is always good.
Exactly. You would know all about it.
A little bit.
But beating England, the Kolkata Cup as well.
Yeah.
The Guinness Six Nations, you had beating Murrayfield.
Yeah.
It was incredible as well.
I asked for one favourite game.
Yeah.
You've now mentioned 3 already.
That's 3 already. Hopefully there's more to come.
Right, and if you, I mean obviously you must really love being a prop, having your head stuck in scrums, but if you could choose another position, what would you pick?
I would have to go for centre.
Really, 12 or 13?
I think because I'm a bit of a bulky guy, maybe 12, sacrifice the body.
Yeah, not so much in the outside channels.
No. I'm not as quick or as well built as you, Tim, but no, I always growing up, Nunu was one of my favourite players.
Yeah, nice, yeah.
So his pass, his step, his aggressive carries, I think that's something I really liked and admired about him.
Yeah. Post-match meal? Favourite post-match meal?
Post-match meal will have to be in the modern era and the modern day. So it's a protein shake with some creatine in.
Right. And now let's get the real story.
And then maybe swap that for an ice cold beer.
Yeah.
especially after a victory.
Domino's,
It's the best
McDonald's, where are we going with this?
I would actually go for a nice pizza.
Yeah, nice.
And then a 48-hour fast to get myself ready for the Monday again.
Right. Right, so you scored 2 tries, Tonga and Ireland. Which one was your favourite?
Ireland was most probably, I remember when I came off the pitch to get subbed, that feeling of, it almost feels like you're playing the rugby game.
Yeah.
The vibe, the atmosphere.
Crowd going crazy.
Yes.
Yeah, nice.
So for me, and also to add value to the team, I knew the importance of don't knock it on, don't do something silly, you have to get the job done. Even if you go head first, doesn't matter if you get injured or not, you're going to score that try.
Try's a try.
So for me, that was probably the best one out of the 2.
Now, being a South African, you obviously love rugby. Other favourite sport or favourite sport outside rugby?
Football is really growing on me now, especially spending so much time with Hamish Watson.
Right. Oh God, yeah. Oh,
so,
his hard work.
So his hard work off the pitch, and everywhere we go, we have to watch all his. I won't say his favourite team, but all the matches.
You know, he once spent £1,000 on FIFA just on buying players. True story. Greatest loose head prob of all time.
I would have to say, born in South Africa, and all credit to him, Oos Durant.
Yeah.
But playing for Scotland and spending time knowing Tom Smith, that just recently passed away, very sadly, was really a big inspiration for me as well.
Yeah.
Also a British-Irish Lion.
Yeah, and a great ball player.
And a great ball player.
Great ball player. Best atmosphere you've played in for Scotland?
The Kolkata Cup, Guinness Six Nations at BT Murrayfield, when we beat England.
Any pre-match rituals?
I do actually have a pre-match ritual. It's like a 30-minute power nap.
Yeah, good.
And I'm like, and I really like that. I like to play the game in my head a bit as well.
Yeah.
Like, kick off, do your job,
nice.
Scrum time, your process, stuff like that, and then just fall asleep. And when I wake up there, I'm ready, focused.
Ready to go.
Ready to go.
Ooh, this is a good one. If you had to choose, score a winning try or a scrum penalty?
Scrum penalty.
Oh God, you would say that. Nice. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tim. I appreciate it.
Welcome back to Meggetland. Tim Visser putting Scotland prop pair Schumann on the spot there. And confirmation of the half-time score. Boroughmuir Bears 7, Ayrshire Bulls 19. And it took us a while, really, as both teams struggled a bit with the conditions. You can see blue sky, but just before kick-off we got a very heavy shower of rain, slippery ball, difficult handling conditions. But on the 17-minute mark, the Ayrshire Bulls eventually got themselves over. They had umpteen opportunities from their own line out, but it was actually from a mistake from the Bears line out. It's a slight overthrow here by Jerry Blythe Lafferty, and it was Alex Maguire, the Bulls hooker, who raced round the corner to touch that one down.
Yeah, we'd seen a lot of pressure from Bulls in the lead up there, and Boroughmuir had managed to escape a couple of times on their own line, but yeah, quick thinking by Alex Maguire to be able to dive over the line there.
And the conversion by Will Hunt. And you see then Blair McPherson having the pass to Jamie Shedden, who then in turn found Elias Caven, a left winger, going over for his side's second score.
Yeah, it's a good finish. All came from great work on the counter-attack, and Blair McPherson there doing his job. Jamie Shedden did a great job of just fixing his man, taking that space, and then managing to draw the fullback in as well, which made it a relatively easy finish for Elias Caven, which we know he's very good at.
The conversion attempt by Will Hunt, just fading past the left upright, but it was that man Hunt who just burst through, slicing his way through the Boroughmuir Bears defence and over the last man, Joe Jenkins, to score his side's third try.
Yeah, it's a well executed training ground move. As almost they end up with more attackers, Boroughmuir have to pick their men, and you know, credit to him, they still chose the right man, and Will Hunt still had a bit of work to do, and he managed to get it over and put over the conversion as well.
Back came Boroughmuir Bears, Tristan Andrews giving the pass to his fullback Andrew McLean. He just played a 1-2 with his left wing Joe Jenkins to register the home side on the scoreboard.
Yeah, it was good to see Tristan Andrews does well. It was good to see the back three getting their hands on the ball. And Joe Jenkins had done a lot of good work in fielding high balls, but probably one of the first opportunities he had to get hands on ball and manages to put Andrew McLean away after a good bit of work. And it's kind of sprung Boroughmuir into life when they were really struggling against the momentum of the Bulls. But it's made the game a lot more interesting at half time. And with the weather brightening up, I think we should have a good half ahead of us.
Jack Bergen just adding the extras there, converting Andrew McLean's try. It's a half-time score. Boroughmuir Bears 7, Ayrshire Bulls 19. And a reminder that these two sides will go head-to-head once again next week, this time down at Millbrae in the playoff semi-finals. And we touched on it at the start of the game, but how much are they trying not to give too much away this week, and how much are they just trying stuff out?
I think there's probably a bit of both. Both teams, like I said before, they'll know each other pretty well. Going into the playoffs, it's the real sort of business end of the season, and I think you potentially see a few changes in both teams going into next week. But this is a real opportunity for players to put their hand up to be selected, and what will be the most important game of the season so far. And the coaches, as I mentioned, I've said it's a last chance for players to put their hand up for that selection, and everyone will want to be involved. When you get games that are back-to-back, it always adds a bit of a different dynamic, and like I say, you're analysing the game as you're going on, you're kind of almost thinking ahead to next week, but the teams will be trying to do their, stay in the moment and do their job for the minute, but there's always going to be that wee bit. As soon as this game finishes, they're like, right, what can we do next week that will get us that result and push us on to the final.
So the Ayrshire Bulls back out for the second half, just waiting on the home side. And everybody's been very honest, the coaches of the bottom four sides, saying that they feel there's a real gulf between themselves and the top two, Ayrshire Bulls and Watsonians. Watsonians were pushed hard by Heriots last night.
Yeah, they have really kind of stood out at the top of that table, but then Boroughmuir had a great start to the season, and I think just going on their past form, they've had a really productive season in terms of bringing guys on. And if you look at the number of youngsters in that team, 18, 17, 18-year-old, and those are the guys that are really performing as well. We've mentioned a few of them already, but it's just great to see those guys really improving at this level. And Boroughmuir are worthy of their third place, and they'll go all guns blazing into the semi-final next week.
Well, the two sides met on the 20th of August, the Bulls winning 49 points to 7 that day down at Millbrae. It looks like we won't get a repeat of that. Boroughmuir being very competitive in this game so far. Change, you can see Scotland international Simon Bergen coming on in the front row for Calvin Henderson. 31 international caps, a good man to bring on. 91 appearances for Edinburgh Rugby, now with Glasgow Warriors, and 13 appearances for them. Jerry Blythe Lafferty just getting instructions from Brandon Sweet. You can see the strapping on his right angle. Took a knock earlier in the game. Survived 40 minutes so far. And off the top, down it goes to Rory Swan. The hands in there on the Ayrshire Bulls. The ball bobbling about, but it does come back for Swan. Plays it behind Blythe Lafferty and finds Andrew McLean, the try scorer, who sends that ball down into the Ayrshire Bulls 22, and that's a good kick by the fullback.
Yeah, I think that was almost, I was thinking as he kicked that, maybe he should have put it along the floor, but he's done well to get it down, keep it in. It was the right idea. We've gone first phase and then back down a short side. There's always going to be a wee bit of space in behind there, and with the fullback Liam McNamara having to cover across, but good work by Andy McLean. That's a good touch. I think he says himself he only started playing fullback a couple of weeks ago. He's normally a 10, so he's obviously got that skill set, and it's great to have that in a 15.
Well, he's found a 50-22 because it's a Bears throw into the line out. Blythe Lafferty finds his man and then goes round to the back of the maul, which isn't making an awful lot of ground. Now they start to inch forward. And Blythe Lafferty breaks away, and his scrum half Rory Swan has to go in just to secure possession. It's lifted up to Tristan Andrews. met with stiff defence from the Bulls. Right, it comes to Lee McConnell, who's shown up very well in his role as captain this afternoon. Play centre field just inside the Bulls 22. Blythe Lafferty again. The two 18-year-olds getting heavily involved in the early stages of this second half. Dropped off there to outside centre Adam Scott. Not seen too much of him this afternoon. Back they come to the left, Brandon Sweet. And Swan to Bergen, sends that one over the top, and this one could work for them. Blythe Lafferty got boot to ball there. Bit of a ricochet off one of the Bulls players. And a little bit lucky for the visitors. And Cam Jones sends a clearing kick down, taken by Joe Jenkins. He's got Andrew McLean with him, decides to go himself and rather ran away from his support. Has managed to get the ball back on his side. Rory Swan having to dig for it. Well, in fact, he doesn't get it because they pick and go round the corner. And out to McConnell again. Just looking to zigzag, come back to the left, but the referee spotted an infringement. Rory Swan thought about racing away, but they'll come back and I think we'll kick to the corner.
Yeah, it's probably the first bit of real sustained face play we've had from Boroughmuir. And you can see Jack Bergen there, he's really tuned into these attacking kicks, and to be fair, that one almost came off, and I think it kind of looked like Blythe Lafferty might have got it on the full, I thought. He opted to kind of put the foot on it, which made it a bit scrappy, but yeah, first bit of sustained pressure from Boroughmuir, and then they've counter-attacked well, and they've ended up with a line out here.
So Blythe Lafferty throwing into a six-man line out. Tristan Andrews standing there as the +1. It comes back again on the Bulls side, and an easy out for them. They've been made to work hard for it at the breakdown though. Cam Jones is providing a bit of encouragement to his forwards. A little glance over the top of the ruck. He doesn't get great distance on that. Joe Jenkins has to come forward. And a great catch again by the left winger. And the referee says he was taken in the air, so yet another penalty to the home side as they build some pressure in the early stages of this second half.
That's a good take by Joe Jenkins. He's been safe all day, and it's in testing conditions as well. You can see the wind. You know, and the box kicks are they're going up there. So no, great take, and it keeps Boroughmuir down there. I kind of said at the start, there's going to be a lot of kicks going in given the conditions, and the back three will be tested. But Joe Jenkins has done a great job so far today.
So Blythe Lafferty finds his man this time, and they look well set in the maul. Blythe Lafferty breaks away though. Goes himself, manages to fight through 2 or 3 tackles, eventually dragged down by Archie Smeaton. That's good quick ball though for the Bears. And the centres combining well there, and they do go over. Scott Robson feeding Adam Scott, who crashes over for his side's second try. And in the early stages of this second half, it's been all Boroughmuir Bears, and they've narrowed the gap to only 7 points.
Yeah, great work by Blythe Lafferty in the lead up there. Like, look at this carry, he shrugs off a couple of guys, he keeps going. I thought he was going to go over himself, but that really sets up the opportunity for Boroughmuir. With the quick ball, there's always going to be space on the width, and Adam Scott does well to wriggle out there. I thought Jamie Shedden had done a good job of holding him up, but with that momentum on the carry, it just meant that ball had to go, and Rory Swan did well just to get it away, and there's going to be an opportunity somewhere, and Adam Scott did really well just to finish that off, and it's a great start to the half for Boroughmuir.
Well, it's Adam Scott, the try scorer, who's lining up the conversion here rather than Bergen, and he makes no mistake with that one. So with 5 minutes played in the second half here at Meggetland, it's Boroughmuir Bears 14, Ayrshire Bulls 19. change in the middle row for the Bears. Josh King coming on, former bigger player for Callum Atkinson. And again, the Bears will just be looking to get a clean exit here. They get a huge amount of distance on that, but not taken well at all by the Ayrshire Bulls. They eventually tidy up. Another change in the front row, this time Brandon Sweet going off Callum McFeet Smith, Hong Kong international, 5 caps to his name. And away goes Andy Stirrett, bursts through the Bears defence, eventually dragged down in the 22, and in come the hands from Adam Scott, trying to turn that one over. The referee plays on. It's still the Bulls in possession and some space down that left flank, but untidy pass. Blair McPherson lurking out there. And a double blast on the whistle from the referee suggests that one of the Bears players could be in trouble.
Was it maybe deliberate knock on? I think he's maybe looking at here. Great play by the Bulls. Just you could see it was that 10. 12 cut, and Elias Cavan was running that line really close to the ruck, and it's almost one of those ones that when you see it coming, Boroughmuir have probably overread it and think this is going to the winger, but Andrew Stirrett has done well to read that and go through himself and get himself up towards the 22.
Well, the yellow card has been shown to one of the Bears players. I think it was Cammy Meagher. Let's get confirmation of that in a second, but I think it is their right wing, Cameron Meagher, on loan today from Curry. But either way, they're down to 14 men for the next 10 minutes, and they now have to defend a line-out maul, and there is no defence there whatsoever. However, the referee said, in fact, they had broken away. Players in front, so essentially offside. So the Bears survive what looked like a very dangerous moment.
Yeah, it's fortunate for Boroughmuir there. They've managed to turn that one over. I think you could see Adam Scott from outside centre running over to the short side wing there. So I think you're right. I think it's Cameron Meagher that's went off for the yellow card there. That's a tough one because I know we didn't get a good look at it, but. Yeah, that's confirmed there. So it's one of them. He's kind of having to jam and make the tackle, and whether that ball's come off his hand or not. But you see those decisions going that way, you know, in the modern game all the time now. So it's understandable that the referee's shown the yellow card.
So half an hour to go in this final game of a regular league season. A ball lost by the Bears at line-out time, and away come the Ayrshire Bulls. It's Tim Brown takes it into contact 6 or 7 metres out from the Bears try line. Cam Jones has a little dart himself. He's driven back by Tristan Andrews. Jamie Drummond now pick and go round the corner. The troops massing for the Ayrshire Bulls, and it's Blair McPherson, the captain, who goes over for the bonus point try.
Yeah, turnover line out's a great opportunity to attack. You know, Boroughmuir are set waiting to attack themselves, and then when that ball then goes to the opposition, it's tough to realign your defence. And some good patient work, a little drive by Cam Jones there, and I think Blair McPherson's seen Elias Cavan go over at the top of the try-scoring charts, and he's just managing to peg one back, so just to stay on his tail with a couple of weeks left in the competition.
The Ayrshire Bulls for now are resisting the Boroughmuir Bears comeback. Again, it'll be Will Hunt tasked with adding the extras. Fairly easy conversion from out in front. And the Bulls re-establish that 12 points advantage that they held at half time.
Yeah, we've had kind of patch from either team just at the beginning of the second half. Good build-up play by Ayr, as we mentioned. It's probably just rewards there. I was thinking, looking, you know, at Boroughmuir's start to the half, you're thinking, is the wind really, you know, that strong wind going to play a big part in the second half? But you know, Bulls have just gone against that there. But it's turning into a fantastic game.
Yes, it was very slow to get going. Alex Maguire going over for the opening try, 17 minutes into the game. A bit of handbags over on the far side.
A heavy handbag went in early on there, I think.
Well, let's focus on the change rather than what's going on over there. Gavin Wilson coming on in the back row for Tim Brown for the Ayrshire Bulls. And the referee will have a quick word with his assistant David Chang-Leng. Reminder, the referee Michael Todd was due to be assistant referee today, but thrust into the middle of the action after original referee unable to make it. Let's have a listen to what they're saying.
Shove the Boroughmuir player into the hoardings unnecessarily. Do you have a number? I don't need you there. Go away.
So I think the suggestion there, a Bulls player pushing one of the Boroughmuir Bears players into the hoarding.
Captain and captain, I'm speaking. Tackle's legal. Your 13 then comes in and shoves the boy against the barrier. It's unacceptable. No, it's unacceptable. Back you go. It's a penalty.
It's a penalty against Jamie Shedden.
On the 15, back we go.
So it must have been, I didn't see what had kicked it all off, but it must have been that. You're shaking your head, Lee Jones. Are you disagreeing with that?
No, not at all. I'm similar. I couldn't quite see what happened, but it did descend into a wee bit of handbags, didn't it? And it's fortunately for Boroughmuir come out on their side, and they managed to get a line out deep in the half. So
12.
Yeah, it's probably a fair call by the ref that David Chang-Leng was right there. So he's probably added in some credible information there, I think.
Time back on.
Two Boroughmuir Bears tries have come from the back line so far. The forwards will want to get in on the action. Another line out that didn't quite go to plan, but it's been snapped up by Luca Alessandri. And Callum McFeet-Smith get himself involved. Ewan Ferry driven back in the tackle. Liam McConnell feeds off to his back row partner Ewan Ferry, Glasgow Warriors academy player. And the Bears looking to keep things tight. Liam McConnell again been excellent this afternoon. Ball out the back, and there could be space out on the left wing. Andrew McLean has shown up well, fullback today for the Boroughmuir Bears. Counter ruck by the Bulls, trying to turn this one over. Ball squirts out the side and has been snapped up. I think Jack Fisher, was it? No, it did come back on the Bulls side.
Green out the way, please.
And Liam McConnell making a nuisance of himself. Trying to drive Archie Smeaton off the ball.
8 back, 8 step, leave the 9, leave the 9.
Calm down a little bit. Not a great pass back. And under a bit of pressure, the clearing kick lands on the Ayrshire Bulls 10-metre line, and you can hear that the crowd disagree with that, but the referee says it was a knock-on.
Yeah, I think that was a tough call on Andrew McLean. He dropped it, but I'd argue whether it went forward. That's a tough one. I think we were just seeing there the kind of going to wide breakdown, the kind of vulnerability there. Adam Scott carried on the width, and it gave Bulls the opportunity to just really attack that. It just shows the kind of importance when you're in that 22, I think, of pulling the trigger at the right time. If you go too early, then there's real heat on that wide breakdown, and Bulls did well to turn that over. He obviously managed to get a scrum here, but I think, yeah, like I said, that was unfortunate for Andrew McLean there.
The change at scrum half for the Ayrshire Bulls. That is Jordan Lennock on there, and once again the Ayrshire Bulls scrum marching forward. The referee telling Blair McPherson to use it, and Blair McPherson is saying we want a penalty. And that is Jordan Lennock with the 24 jersey on. And the Bulls quickly take play across to the far side, and that's Thomas Glendinning carrying. Blair McPherson and Archie Smeaton popping up on the far side. And back it comes. They're certainly moving this Boroughmuir Bears defence around, and through the middle goes Elias Caven. Great footwork from the left wing, and he goes in for his second try.
Oh, that's a fantastic score, Elias Caven. We've not seen a lot of them, as I mentioned, in the first half, but the 2 opportunities he's had, what a finish that is. You know, he ran provider on the break in the lead up to the last try, and then just getting the ball out the back there, coming off his right foot, but he still has the fullback to beat. He goes in, he goes out, and still manages to hold a bit of pace. That's a really impressive finish.
Elias Caven back in the starting side today, and he doubles up as the Ayrshire Bulls strength and conditioning coach. And it's fair to say he does a bit of speed work himself, because he is very quick, but his footwork is exceptional, and that's just a nightmare for a fullback.
Yeah, I think when he's coming through the pace, he kind of had on to that ball. You know, he got it out the back there, and just stepped hard, which checks the defence, but then he managed to just get back out and maintain real momentum through there. Which is hard, you know, as a 15 when you're probably not expecting the line break, and then it comes and it's someone as quick as Elias Caven, and like you say, involved in the strength and conditioning role as well with the Bulls. So, and you can see he's a physical guy as well as being quick, really strong.
So conversion successful again. So the Ayrshire Bulls, having been under pressure in the early stages of this second half, and were clawed back to only 19 points to 14, suddenly find themselves leading again 33 points to 14, and just showing how lethal they can be when they get into the danger zone. What can the Boroughmuir Bears do in response? Well, nothing with loose passing like that. Suddenly find themselves back outside their 22. Joe Jenkins having to go back. The referee says no release by the tackler. I think that was Gavin Wilson. Well, no, it was Aaron Tate, in fact. But the Bears just not quite as slick as the Ayrshire Bulls there with their handling.
Yeah, I thought that was actually initially a good bit of work by Aaron Tate. He let the player get up and clamped on. I'm not sure the referee's view on that. Initially it was good, but Bulls almost getting just a wee bit over enthusiastic chasing that ball through, and Boroughmuir get a wee bit of respite.
So that's why I was confused. Okay, for me it had stopped. I'll have a look next time. If it doesn't stop, I will say it. But for me, it's gone straight backward and no one's collapsed or stood up. Yeah. So there's no infringement. For me it stopped, yeah. That's really good.
Breaking. Sorry, on you go, Lee.
Sorry, I was just thinking when we seen Simon Bergen there, I was just thinking an already strong scrum. You then bring him off the bench, and looking back to that scrum just a couple of minutes ago, it makes it even stronger. It's not good to see for Boroughmuir.
Well, that's a good line out. A chance for them to attack through Josh King. He takes play up over halfway. Holding for holes down that right wing, but hit hard in defence. And the Bears, under pressure again at the breakdown, managed to clear it out to the pod of forwards, and bursting through there goes Callum McFeet-Smith. Squirts out the side, and they do well to get that back. Again, a little bit untidy, working their way up towards the Ayrshire Bulls 10-metre line. Again, the ball quickly finds its way out onto the right wing. Elias Caven, 2 tries, working well in defence there, and managed to drag his man out into touch and wins a line out for his side.
Yeah, it's good to see a winger performing well on the other side of the ball as well. It's not just about scoring, but he's managed to show a bit of physicality there and get his opposite man with a little bit of help into touch, which provides a turnover for his team.
I don't need all your boys telling me at the same time about it, okay?
We're almost into the last quarter of this game at Meggetland. The first quarter was very slow to get going, but the middle 40 minutes have certainly been action-packed. 5 tries for the Ayrshire Bulls and 2 for the Boroughmuir Bears. More changes, it's Alex Maguire.
Time back on.
He opened the scoring 17 minutes into the game. And that looks like James
Back
Malcolm, I think, on at hooker for the Ayrshire Bulls. Right, it goes again to Blair McPherson. Always a very willing ball carrier. And certainly not the easiest man to bring down defensively.
Hold in
A
front.
loose pass back from Lenac to Richie Simpson.
It's carried back inside.
Here the referee saying that one's been carried back inside, so the Boroughmuir Bears don't have the luxury of being able to send that one out and carry instead.
Captain, you have the penalty if you want it. 8, 9,
The referee saying that they do have a penalty. It's a chance for Boroughmuir Bears just to have a go down the stand side touchline, taken into contact there. But again, the Ayrshire Bulls, they're really having a go at that Bears breakdown now. Nicky Hart coming on. He's been brought in from North Berwick. That's in East League One. We spoke about the difficulties that Boroughmuir Bears were having in turning a 23 out this week. 6 emergency loan players, including bringing a prop in from East League One. And that's a fair step up in standard.
Yeah, no, it is. It's Graham Shield mentioned it before the game. Credit to the coaches providing these players, and you know, like, and it's tough coming into a squad like that. But it's great having guys that can step in when I think we see a couple of teams towards this end of the season with some real injury troubles. Boroughmuir no exception, and but you know, I think a couple of the guys that have come in today have stood out really well.
As we said last week, it's certainly been an attritional 10 weeks of competition. And the Ayrshire Bulls and Watsonians perhaps coping better than the others with that as well. Being able to rotate their squad a bit. Part of the reason perhaps for the ascendancy, but as we said earlier, there is a gulf between the top two and the chasing pack. Anything can happen on any given day, and that's what makes the playoff semi-final so interesting.
Let's go, please,
next
lads.
week.
Mark's here.
Boroughmuir Bears will travel down to Millbrae this time next week and try and turn things around against the Ayrshire Bulls. And for now, they trail by 33 points to 14.
Crouch! Bind!
I think we can see Boroughmuir definitely trying to get a bit more width on the ball in the second half, but as you were saying, Bruce, it's just Bulls are applying real pressure at that wide breakdown, and it's great invention by Boroughmuir, but they're just struggling to really keep a hold of that to then build more phases on top. But it's great to see the ambition to shift the ball, and they've done that well throughout the season, and I think it can reap its rewards. But when you've got a good defensive team like Ayrshire Bulls, who in the past few weeks have been really impressive defensively, you know that ball's always going to be under pressure at ruck time, especially in the wide channels.
Crouch! Bind! Set!
Ayrshire Bulls scrum inching forward again. It's playing for a penalty, and the referee sticks the left arm out, so now playing an advantage as McPherson clears that. Ball again sent long, but the Bulls will come back and get another crack at the kick. And this time I imagine we'll look to put it out and get the throw into the line out. And you mentioned the changes that they made. Simon Bergen coming on in the front row. You've got James Malcolm, a former Glasgow Warriors player. Simon Bergen, interestingly, he was never a Boroughmuir player, but he was picked in the draft back in the 2014-15 season by Boroughmuir and spent the whole season with them, culminating in that cup final victory over Hawick, thumping 55-17 win. So he has got some history in a Boroughmuir jersey. I don't think he would play with any of these guys. I think Craig Keddy, in fact, would be involved in that. But perhaps the only one, Craig Keddy, out injured this afternoon. He's wearing an Ayrshire Bulls jersey today. 31 Scotland caps, so as you would expect, adding something to the Ayrshire Bulls scrum. And it comes from Malcolm, but knocked
Lost
on.
in the air, green scrum. Knock on.
Yeah, he's a good bit of strength to come off the bench as well. between himself and Simon. And in the front row, we're already doing a good job. You know, I thought Alex Maguire had a strong game. He got a try to his name. There's been a lot of line-outs, and I think James Malcolm just probably finding out there how tough the conditions are. It's been tough for them.
Crouch!
Yes, the line-outs have been a bit messy today. A number of balls lost by both sides, and we maybe haven't made it clear enough how difficult the conditions are.
9, stay behind the ball, please.
Pressure again coming on from the Ayrshire Bulls. Comes squirting out the back of that Boroughmuir Bears scrum. Goes loose. And knocked on by the Bears. And then it hits one of their own players in front. So an offside and a penalty to the Ayrshire Bulls. And no surprise, they will just send this one into the corner.
Yeah, all got a bit scrappy, didn't it? And it probably comes from just that wee bit of dominance on the Bulls scrum, that you've got a retreating pack, you're getting fed a ball that's Jordan Linac did well to almost get a hand there and make it messy. Then you're trying to lift it up, the scrum's still coming back, and you could see there Bulls have ended up with a great result off the back of it, winning the penalty. But big pressure on Boroughmuir at the base of that scrum.
So what money on James Malcolm going over for a score here. He throws in, taken in the middle by Hamilton Bulger. Well, instead they keep it in hand. I think, along with me, Boroughmuir Bears expecting the drive there. Like it comes from Linac. Out it goes to Rory Jackson, moving from the back row into the middle row this week. And this time they go to the backs. Oh, it's Thomas Glendinning through the dummy pass, goes himself. Now Malcolm goes close. Rory Jackson looks to pick and go round the corner. He's very, very close. They're up against the post, and Boroughmuir Bears have got hands on that, and they keep that one up. And the ball was eventually touched down by Rory Jackson, but before that, the referee right on the spot saying that the Bears had held that one up, and it'll be our second goal line drop out of the game.
Yeah, Boroughmuir doing really well to hold that up. I thought, like, in the lead up there, it almost looked like Ayr were on their captain's run. It was like everything was bang on. They knew where they were going. They were round the corner. The ball was clean, and I'm thinking this is going to end up in a score. But I'll credit to Boroughmuir for getting under the ball there. But it was efficient work from the line out, and then getting round the corner from Bulls. Like I say, it was almost like team run-esque.
They could find themselves back in their own line again, because here come the Ayrshire Bulls and their space. That ball can't be taken cleanly by Jamie Shedden. No knock on though, so it's Linac still in possession for his side. And Rory Jackson again involved in the play, out behind the forwards, and away goes Shedden. He looks enormous when you see him running down that far touchline, head and shoulders above the other players round about him. Archie Smeaton tackled just outside the Bears 22, and the flat pass to Ali Rogers also on in the front row for the Ayrshire Bulls in this second half. Jordan Linac, it's a little bit slower ball this time, finds Elias Caven, who's on a hat-trick. Out to Liam McNamara, crawls forward. Bears defence managing to keep the Bulls at bay for now, just outside their 22. Again, a loud blast and the whistle from the referee. I think the crowd saw what was happening there before the referee, and he will have to have a quick word with his assistant referees, I think, here.
Back. Take your boys
I think
away.
we could see a penalty coming Ayrshire way.
Lads, take steps, please.
They're looking like they've got real impetus now here. You can see them on the ball. Jordan Linac's brought some real kind of zip, I think, as often does happen when you bring on a fresh scrum half. But I think there's just some real direction and impetus about Bulls play, and I think, you know, it's really putting Boroughmuir under pressure.
We'll see if we can spot this here. It's just off the side of your picture there. So we'll hopefully get another look at it. Jordan Linac, as you say, both scrum halves for the Ayrshire Bulls have been excellent today, because Cam Jones was superb in the 50 minutes or so that he was in the field. Jordan Linac, Croatian heritage, but he's an Australian schoolboy. A couple of appearances with Glasgow Warriors. I think it was just a bit of a push. You saw the Boroughmuir Bears player going to deck, so nothing too much in that, but a penalty awarded to the home side. That's a good touch finder just down the stand side of the pitch, and play now on the Ayrshire Bulls 10 metre line. Ian Carmichael on now at hooker. Finds his captain McConnell at the front of the line out. And then Tristan Andrews, for the first time this afternoon, driven back as he carried in the midfield. Boroughmuir switch play back towards the left, and that's hands coming in there, and the referee, no hesitation this time, deliberate knock on, and one of the Bulls players will find himself in the sin bin for 10 minutes.
Always down.
I think looking at that one, it was pretty clear cut, wasn't it? It was like you hear the referee Michael Todd saying there, it was always down. So I think, yeah, it's a fair call. And that might change the complexion of this game, just going into the last kind of 10-12 minutes. When you lose a scrum half, it'll be interesting to see. It'll often be a blindside winger, but who slots in there. And it just might shake things up a wee bit in terms of the way Ayrshire are trying to close out this game.
I see confirmation there, it was actually Jordan Lennox, the scrum half, who was shown the yellow card. It did look for a moment that it was Blair McPherson, the captain, as he walked across to referee Michael Todd. He was just having a quick word with him. It's Lennox who will spend the next 10 minutes on the naughty step. And Ian Carmichael in possession at the back. Round the corner there came Ali Rogers. Swan out through the hands of the centres. Robson and Scott for the Bears. Again, very one-sided attack. They could only really go down that right touchline. See, change Ross Cadzo on his 18th birthday coming on. That's scrum half for the Boroughmuir Bears, on loan from Edinburgh Accies. Not a bad way to celebrate your 18th birthday.
Yeah, another teenager on the field.
I don't say it's making you feel old, because it makes me feel an awful lot older.
No, it's impressive to see these guys playing at that level, and if Ross is getting his first opportunity here, and like you say, it's a nice wee birthday present, but these guys are performing really well, and I think for you look at Boroughmuir going forward, it's great for the future in terms of they've been competitive. They're in third position in the league this year. They've still got the playoffs to finish off, but they've got some young guys that are really strong.
Well, the try has been given. It didn't quite go to plan at the line out, but the ball went loose. It was thrown in by Ian Carmichael, didn't find his man, but as he came back on the Ayrshire Bulls side, and we'll have another look at it here, knocked through, and I think that is Josh King, the man who's gone through and scored the Bears' third try. We'll get a closer look at it here. It is, you see the 19 jersey there, Josh King on in the second half, the former bigger player. Well, it's almost as opposite of how they gave away their first try. So they've levelled things, if you like. There, they had their own line out 5 metres out from the try line, 17 minutes into the game, and they tapped it back, and Alex Maguire raced through for the Ayrshire Bulls to open the scoring. On this occasion, it was their own line out that didn't quite go to plan, but the ball bounced kindly for them on this occasion. And the replacement in the second row, Josh King. And up go the flags, and with 8 minutes left on this one, Boroughmuir Bears again narrow the gap down to 12 points.
Yeah, it just shows you how important securing line-out ball is, especially on that 5 metre line. But from a Boroughmuir point of view, there it's their own line-out, and it's like the bounce pass, isn't it? It just opens up a hole, and Josh King, like Alex Maguire in the first half, did really well to pounce on it and go over for the score, which it drags Boroughmuir back into this game.
Regathered, play on!
With 8 minutes left.
Use it! Lads, let go of him, please.
I think even if Boroughmuir Bears don't come back and pick up what would be an unlikely win here today, at least they say to Ayrshire Bulls, we can be competitive next week. The Bulls, I think, will say otherwise in their home patch down at Millbrae. But for now, it's certainly been a very competitive 72 minutes here at Meggetland. It's the visitors who lead 33 points to 21, and they're in possession. Flat pass out into the midfield, and Gavin Wilson makes good ground there. Was forced into a change at scrum half with the loss of Jordan Lennox. So it's Aaron Tate, who's had to come in off the right wing to play scrum half. In go the hands from Boroughmuir Bears, and that's a great turnover.
Good counter rock, you're playing on the floor.
Yeah, Boroughmuir have scrambled really well at times. That's another one, you know, the wide breakdowns. It's a vulnerable ball if you don't do your job properly. And they're continuing just to make it difficult for the Bulls.
Twelve green.
Changes here. Scott Robson leaving the field of play.
Up come, guys.
See confirmation there. Jordan Millar coming on loan today from the Southern Knights. He was a very late addition to the squad. Originally the Bears were going to go with 22 men in the squad. Jordan Millar added earlier this afternoon. Can't be taken cleanly by Liam McConnell at the front, but the throw was squint anyway from Ian Carmichael. It's another wasted opportunity because a score here for the Boroughmuir Bears, still up against 14 men, would make for a very interesting closing 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah, it does make the score interesting, and I think Bulls obviously just having that yellow card has probably changed things a bit for them, but Boroughmuir have really stuck in the game. Like I say, they were trying to play to a bit more width. They've been really niggly around breakdown, a couple of players there. And you know, another score within this last 5 minutes, it could really change the complexion of things. It'll give them real confidence going into the semi-final next week as well. I think the stature of Aaron Tate's probably got him a job at replacement scrum half there. He's a sharp little player as well, so I think Boroughmuir will need to keep an eye on him if he's around the ruck as well. He's really sharp and he's played well the last few weeks.
I shouldn't admit it, but I can't quite remember if he did finish top scorer in the sprint series back in the spring, but there was certainly at some point during that series that he was the top try scorer. He knows his way to the try line, as does left wing Elias Caven. Went over for 2 tries this afternoon for his side. That's not a bad pass out from acting scrum half Aaron Tate, and he follows play across as McNamara passes that on to Caven. Back to the forwards, and Blair McPherson, as ever, making good ground, takes play up over the Bears' 10-metre line. Over a floaty pass there, but it does find its way out into Ali Rogers in the midfield. And a counter ruck there from the Boroughmuir Bears, so Aaron Tate knocked backwards, back to his feet, keeps possession for his side. Out to Smeaton. Out again to Jamie Shedden. Play still around about that Bears 10-metre line. Good defence, Liam McConnell. The umpteenth tackle of the day, and now they go wide and put boot to ball through Thomas Glendinning, and that will just roll into touch inside the Bears 22.
Yeah, it's a smart bit of play there, just given the context of the game and the time on the clock. Thomas Glendinning has thought, yeah, he's probably looked, has the pass been on, it's maybe a 50-50, and he's thought if I put that along the floor it kind of pins Boroughmuir back there. It leaves them with a couple of minutes to try and salvage something. That's a smart play by Thomas Glendinning.
Another break in play, a minute or so before Jordan Lenach returns to the field of play. And we're getting to that stage of the game, Lee, where I have to ask you to think about your player of the match.
Yeah, look, I think there's been a few nominations on both sides of the ball, and it was like you say, it was a slow start to the game, but the game kind of really burst into life. Elias Caven's the man I've went for in the end, but there was a few guys in there that I'll talk through. But Elias, I think that second try almost for me, it really just won the game for Ayr, and it was a great bit of individual skill, and you could see almost, you're watching it and you're thinking that is absolutely brilliant, it's magic. And he had his involvement in the first try as well, a relatively easy finish, but there's never an easy finish. He managed to do that well. I thought he worked back well on counter-attack. He was involved in the lead-up play to Ayrshire Bulls' try just before his own. I think he's been active off his wing as well. and he's been good defensively as well whenever he's been called upon. It's a pity he just didn't score a hat-trick there, but
well, he's trying to get himself involved coming off his left wing. I'm sure he'll be sneaking back out there again and trying to get his hands on the ball. He's got 3.5 minutes left to get the hat-trick.
I hope he does.
Aaron Tate sends it out that way, still in there acting as scrum half as we await the return of Jordan Lennox. See Archie Smeaton waiting. He's been a very willing ball carrier this afternoon for the visitors.
Yeah,
as has Rory Jackson.
In terms of man of the match, Archie Smeaton was right up there as well. I think he's just been really industrious. He's been good around breakdown. He's carried ball.
Well, Elias Cavan is doing his very best to get that hat-trick. Left winger popping up on the right. We don't have a right wing at the minute because Aaron Tate is scrum half, and you can see him just running across behind play again, looking to get close to the action. And he's asking for this to come to the right, but they'll go to the left. And James Malcolm on in the 16 jersey, former Glasgow Warrior, a replacement hooker. The Ayrshire Bulls just prodding and probing. They might have found space down the left touchline. Glendinning thought about a pass, went himself, and he's very close to that Bears try line. Well, I thought for a moment the referee had awarded a try, but in actual fact he's awarded the penalty to the Boroughmuir Bears on a great bit of work in defence at the breakdown.
Yeah, it was a strong surge from Thomas Glendinning there, just keeping his legs driving. I thought he might have got there on his own, but again Boroughmuir just kind of pull out that turnover. I'm not sure who it was, but it just gives him a bit of respite. Boroughmuir have been, like you say, we've been strong. They've turned over a lot of ball. Talking about their standout players for the day, I think Liam McConnell's been really good. Just as I mentioned in the first half, he's carrying, he's making an extra yard. He just looks smart around the ball. I've seen him in at 9 a few times, playing those short passes to his forwards. He looks in real control of the game, and he's been a nuisance around the breakdown as well. And in terms of the backs for Boroughmuir, I think Joe Jenkins, we've mentioned his name a few times, and when he's been called upon, he's been really good. In attack, he made their try in the first half, and in terms of his aerial work, he's been exemplary. So, those guys have really stood out as well.
The set piece, I think, has cost the Boroughmuir Bears today. They've lost an awful lot of line-outs and been under pressure at scrum time. That's something they'll have to address ahead of next week's rematch down at Millbrae. But for now, they are in possession. And Cammy Hogg on now, another emergency loan player with Curry Chieftains, previously a Boroughmuir player. Turned over again at the breakdown though by the Ayrshire Bulls. Perhaps one last chance for them to put some icing on the cake with what would be a 6th try. Aaron Tate still in there at scrum half, so no Jordan Lennox as yet. I don't think we're going to see him back. And Liam McConnell comes racing out the defensive line there. He's hurt himself, he's hurt his shoulder, I think. And they won't want to lose him ahead of next week, because he really has been a standout player for them, as has Archie Smeaton for the Ayrshire Bulls on the blindside flank. And the Bears' defence being made to work very hard here. Ball goes loose, Elias Cavan snaps it up.
Now it's not gone first before time to have the scrum.
There was a moment there we thought he may well be over for his hat-trick as that ball had come out, but it was knocked on by the Ayrshire Bulls. And it'll be a scrum feed to the Boroughmuir Bears, and I suspect the last action of the game.
Yeah, Bulls having the majority possession just in this last 10 minutes, and they've kind of been working through phases and looking, relatively effective. But Boroughmuir have just been sticking in there. They've stuck in the game. They're making the tackles. They're making it difficult for the Bulls. They can take real positives from that. Real positives going into next week. They know that if they defend well and they attack breakdown, then they can make it difficult for the Bulls to attack, which is what you need to do if you're going to beat a team like that.
Set.
Ross Cadzo on his 18th birthday feeds the scrum, which is in retreat, as it has been for much of the game, but the referee says
for me there's no forward, it's always across.
It was illegal. Yeah, just saying that the try was across from the Ayrshire Bulls rather than forward. So little bit of a discussion among the Boroughmuir Bears players, saying do they want to just kick this off and end the game. They'll kick that one straight out, which means that the game will continue, and they fancy one last chance. It wouldn't have any effect on the table. They would pick up a bonus point if they could score from this position, but I think psychologically going into next week, if they could just narrow that gap, get the final try of the game, it would be good for them.
Oh, definitely, it'd give them massive confidence. I think they can take a lot of confidence from today in the way they performed, given that the team and the number of changes and the guys that they had in as well. It's been really promising for them.
Another untidy line out.
Knock on advantage.
But it is, well, picked up by Adam Scott, but he's lost the ball in contact. Won again by the Ayrshire Bulls, and they've got no need to play on. They've got the game in the bag, so what will they opt to do here?
Advantage over.
Jordan Lennox is back on.
Move, please, 6. Leave it. Thank you for.
Scrum half.
No. Prop, no.
Looks like the Bulls want to continue playing here. Out it goes to Elias Caven. I think it's probably Elias Caven that wants the game to go on. Kicks that ahead. Goes out in the full, and with that the referee blows for full time here at Meggetland in round 10 of the FOSROC Super 6, the final game of the regular league season, and their confirmation of the full time score: Boroughmuir Bears 21, Ayrshire Bulls 33.
Yeah, I think we've had a great game on our hands, haven't we, this afternoon? It fizzled for a bit at the start, and then it really burst into life with a few scores. In this second half, I think once the weather's cleared up, it's been a really good spectacle, and it's an interesting one, like you said, Bruce. Kind of just going into the semi-final next week, both teams feeling each other out. Players knowing that a performance this week could get them in the mix for a semi-final spot next week. I think it'll be interesting to see how that goes next week.
So lots of action to go back over. 5 tries for the Ayrshire Bulls, 3 in the first half, with 1 try late in the half by the Boroughmuir Bears. And then in the second half, it was 2 apiece. So a game that we thought looked a little bit flat in the opening stages really sparked into life 17 minutes in with that first try for Alex Maguire, which we'll perhaps see here. Well, I think this is the second try, in fact, for Elias Caven. You can see him just to the left of your screen, racing onto that one, takes the scoring pass from Jamie Shedden.
Yeah, it's a good finish. Actually, the dive there, Joe Jenkins covered across really well. He had to dive into the corner there. It was good. And Jamie Shedden in the lead up, he was another he was in my head for man of the match. He had a really strong performance, particularly in the first half. I just thought he worked really hard back on counter attack. He had some nice touches, and he was physical as well. He's a big specimen. More at home in centre, I'd hope, than running about on the wing. You don't want guys that size running about in the wing.
Well, you can see Jamie Shedden running the short line there, and he attracted 2 defenders into him, as you have to do. You have to defend a big guy like that. You can see him there just with the 13 jersey on his back. Just drew in a couple of the defenders, and that created enough of a space for Will Hunt to race through, and he showed great acceleration. Yeah,
as we mentioned, the hole was there, but it needed finishing. There was still a few defenders to beat, and he showed good physicality to kind of barrel over in the end.
So 3 tries to the Bulls, 2 of them converted by Will Hunt, saw them lead 19 points to 0, but 3 minutes before half time, back came the Boroughmuir Bears. Andrew McLean, the fullback, going over.
Yeah, promising young guy, only 18 years old, and played the majority of his rugby at 10. And I think we've seen a couple of flashes from him in this game, just showing what he's capable of for a young guy. Coming into this team for the first time. It's great to see him finish off, almost create and finish off a score at the same time.
Well, that seemed to give the Bears real confidence. They went into half-time trailing 7 points to 19. But only 5 minutes into the second half, they found themselves a position close to that Ayrshire Bulls try line, and it was the centre Adam Scott who went over for their second try.
Yeah, I think he'll be thanking Jerry Blythe Lafferty just for that great carry in the lead up. There's space all over the place. Adam Scott does well. Jamie Shedden kind of almost held him up there, but he showed good fight to get the ball down, managed to convert his own score as well.
So there's only 5 points in it at this stage, and you felt the Boroughmuir Bears putting real pressure on the Bulls, but back they came, and Blair McPherson, the man to go over from close range.
Yeah, he's always good for a try. Blair McPherson, I thought he had a pretty industrious game as well. He was his usual self. I think he captained really well. and showed good leadership, and he manages to get over the try line on that occasion.
And Will Hunt with the conversion again. With all sorts of action today, including a bit of a scrap over on the far side of the pitch. Everybody seemed to get involved in it, and it all came from, I think, Jamie Shedden pushing one of the Boroughmuir Bears players into the hoarding.
Yeah, look, I always think there's going to be a bit of niggle in games like this, especially when that'll be interesting going into the game next week, just that underlying. These guys are competitive, and sometimes it spills over a wee bit, but I think the referee handled it well, and it didn't become anything too much.
And here comes Elias Cavan, and well, I'll hand it over to a winger to describe this one.
Yeah, look, he comes off his wing and he just gets involved. That ball's pulled back out the back to sorry, who is it? Richie Simpson. Who we got? Will Hunt, sorry, and or Richie Simpson, I think he just come on. He pulls it right back, and that's just Elias Cavan working off his wing. And the footwork he showed just to straighten up, but then accelerate through that, and he managed to sit Andrew McLean down as the 15, and I thought it was an awesome finish.
Well, the Bears conceded their first try from a lost line out. On that occasion, they scored a try from a lost line out. It went loose through onto the Bulls' side, and it was Josh King, the first man to react. He went through and scored third try of the day for Boroughmuir Bears, and that brought our scoring to a close. But we do have your man of the match. And you maybe said everything you want to say about him, but you said at the start, I said to you, who's going to stand out in this game? You said the wingers. You thought maybe Aaron Tate, but in the end, Elias Cavan really stood out. Yeah,
he's had a good season. I think when he tends to score tries, he tends to score more than one. He's had 4 in one game this season. He's had a hat trick, and now he's got 2. I think, there was a lot of work put in for him to get his scores, and there was a lot of good work up front by the Bulls pack. But I think he just managed to finish off really well, and like I say, he had that good defensive intervention across the far side, and he looked to get off his wing, and he's looking sharp. So I think he goes top of the top try scorers with 10. Blair McPherson's still a couple behind, but they'll maybe still be battling for that in the next couple of weeks, as I mentioned.
Well, you could see Blair McPherson, maybe his face there as he was handing that over, thinking he's got in front of me. I always feel terrible. I watched the game in the Championship last year down at Millbrae, and I'll blame the sunshine. I couldn't quite see who had scored, and I couldn't see on the replays. And I gave the player of the match, I think, to Ryan Sweeney, who was in the back row, and he had a great game. But I found out after the game that Blair McPherson had scored a hat trick, and I hadn't given him the player of the match. So I'm always desperate to give him a player of the match award. He was good today, but I think you were absolutely right with your selection of Elias Cavan as our FOSROC Super 6 player of the match at Meggetland this afternoon. And that game rounds out our weekend. It rounds out our league season. A quick look back over all the results from round 10 of what's known as Rugby, winning 29 points to 21 last night against Heriots, so they will top the table. A great achievement by them. We've still got 2 games to go if they want to pick up the trophy, but just finishing top of the league in itself is a great achievement. And then earlier this afternoon in our 1 PM kickoff, Southern Knights led 19 points to 0 at half time, but the Stirling Wolves came back, and it was just a conversion, the difference between the two sides. But it was the basement team, Stirling Wolves, who got a narrow 21 points to 19 victory in that one. And then in the game we've just watched here, at 5 PM kickoff, the Boroughmuir Bears 21, Ayrshire Bulls 33, and we can see the effect that all of those games have had on the league table. Confirmation there that Watsonians Rugby are top after our 10 rounds on 46 points, and it's really bonus points that's the difference between the two sides. They traded wins. Watsonians Rugby winning against the Bulls at Myerside, and the Bulls winning down at Millbrae, so they will have home advantage in our 2 playoff semi-finals next week, and they will face the Boroughmuir Bears and Heriots Rugby, who sit in 3rd and 4th, and then at the bottom of the table the Southern Knights and the Stirling Wolves. And there you go, there are our semi-finals. So on Friday night, Watsonians Rugby, it's essentially a repeat of this weekend's matches, which made them both fascinating. We thought that's how it would pan out, and that's how how it has happened. So we'll see what's on Air's Rugby against Heriot's Rugby, another Edinburgh derby next Friday night, and then on Saturday the Ayrshire Bulls against the Boroughmuir Bears down at Milbray.
Yeah, I think, you know, looking at the league table there and the way the season's gone, for all bets you're probably thinking Watsonians, Ayrshire Bulls, you know, will be the two stronger teams there. But I think given the match we've had today, you know, Boroughmuir and Heriot as well, they'll both be in with a really good shout at making things competitive, and it's no foregone conclusion. I think given the way Boroughmuir have played today, potentially with a few guys to come back in through injury, it's really promising for them, and I think it should be, you know, a fitting finish to what's been a good championship season.
So yes, the championship, or as I've said already, our regular league season is done. We still have 2 weekends to look forward to, with the culmination of this year's championship, the final at the Damhealth Stadium in a fortnight's time. Tickets are already on sale, so we love that you join us and watch us live, but it'd be great if you could get yourself along to the Damhealth Stadium for that one. And I think I'm right in saying that you can have up to 4 under-18s free with every adult, so you can get yourself tickets already online. But failing that, we will be here, so you can join us again next week for those playoff semi-finals. But for now, thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of your weekend.